Street baptism, Chicano street gangs. When religious ceremony meets street violence, the result is the Chicano street baptism, a brutal perversion of sacred ritual that transforms young boys into hardened warriors. Chicano street gangs in the United States, particularly in barrios of cities like Los Angeles, conduct this violent initiation ritual that deliberately draws parallels to religious baptisms but subverts them into a street context, emphasizing machismo, pain tolerance, and the gang's role as a surrogate family. The ceremony represents rebirth through bloodshed rather than holy water. The ritual involves multiple established gang members, often 3 to 6 or more, simultaneously attacking the initiate in a controlled but brutal assault. The recruit is expected to fight back vigorously without showing fear, weakness, or attempting to flee. However, they are not meant to win. The goal is endurance and proving heart, known as corazon. In Chicano culture, corazon encompasses loyalty, resilience, and willingness to suffer for chosen family. The beating lasts until the gang leaders deem the initiate has passed, often leaving them bloodied and bruised as a symbolic baptism in blood. This marks their rebirth into the gang family. In ethnographic accounts from East Los Angeles gangs like those in the Maravilla or White Fence cliques, a 13-year-old boy aspiring to join might be ambushed in an alley or park after expressing interest. Surrounded by older members, he endured punches, kicks, and strikes for 2 minutes while fighting back desperately. Blood streamed from his broken nose, his left eye swelled shut, but he never fell. When the violence stopped, the older members pulled him up, embraced him, and whispered his new gang moniker: Murder and Beating, Ms. 13. Blood must be spilled before Brotherhood can begin in MS-13's horrifying 2-part initiation process that has terrorized communities from El Salvador to Long Island. The MS-13, also known as Mara Salvatrucha, initiation ritual requires a prospective member to commit a significant act of violence. This typically involves the murder of a rival gang member or someone designated by the gang's leadership. The killing serves as proof of absolute loyalty and willingness to commit heinous acts without hesitation or remorse. However, the murder represents only half the ceremony. Following or preceding this act, the initiate undergoes a physical jumping in. They are beaten by multiple gang members for exactly 13 seconds, a duration tied to the gang's symbolic use of the number 13. The number 13 holds special significance, linking to the gang's historical ties to the Mexican mafia and the letter M as the 13th letter of the alphabet. During the beating, leaders count aloud to 13, and the recruit must endure without collapsing or begging for mercy. The ritual concludes with a formal welcome, often involving the gang's signature devil horn hand signs and phrases like La Mara Salvatrucha Vive, meaning MS-13 lives. A documented case involved a 15-year-old recruit in Suffolk County, tasked with luring a rival gang member to a wooded area under the pretense of a drug deal. The initiate stabbed the rival multiple times as instructed, then returned to the clique. Later that night, in a suburban backyard, 6 MS-13 members surrounded him. For exactly 13 seconds, they pummeled him with fists and kicks while he absorbed every blow. When the count reached 13, he stood bloodied but unbowed, was embraced, and received the gang's devil horn hand sign. Buck 50, Bloods. Razor blades carve permanent membership into innocent flesh through the Blood's most sadistic initiation requirement. The term Buck 50 derives from urban slang referring to a deep facial slash that requires approximately 150 stitches to repair. The wounds are typically inflicted with razors, box cutters, or knives that leave grotesque permanent scars. Unlike other gang initiations that test the recruit's own endurance, this ritual demands they inflict maximum trauma on complete strangers. A prospective member must prove their commitment by attacking and slashing the face of a stranger, rival, or random victim. This frequently occurs during a robbery or opportunistic assault. The randomness of victim selection makes this particularly terrifying for communities, as anyone could become a target. This act not only demonstrates ruthlessness and willingness to engage in unprovoked violence, but also serves to bind the initiate to the gang through shared criminal liability. The ritual reinforces the Blood's culture of intimidation, territorial dominance, and peer status through brutality. It often occurs in public spaces like subways or streets to maximize fear and notoriety. In January 1999, members of the Gangsta Killa Blood set surrounded a woman on an A train in downtown Brooklyn. They stole her jewelry and a bag of clothing, then slashed her face so severely that it required 150 stitches. The attack was methodical and vicious, designed not just for robbery but to leave permanent scarring as their calling card. Police arrested 26 gang members, including leader Marla Banton, charging them with attempted murder and conspiracy. The woman survived, but would forever bear the facial scars of their brutal initiation ritual. Blood Oath Ceremony, Cosa Nostra Mafia. Sacred fire burns unholy flesh in organized crime's most sophisticated and ritualistic initiation ceremony. The blood oath ceremony, also known as the initiation ritual for becoming a made man or man of honor, is central to the Sicilian Cosa Nostra and its American offshoot. This ancient ritual blends pseudo-religious elements with criminal enterprise. It creates bonds stronger than blood through shared ceremony and mutual criminal liability. The ceremony typically occurs in a private setting, such as a dimly lit room, with other made men present. It requires sponsorship by at least one established member who vouches for the recruit's reliability and Italian heritage. The setting often resembles a religious service, complete with altars and religious iconography that perverts sacred symbols for criminal purposes. The core act involves pricking the inductee's finger, often the trigger finger, to draw blood. The blood is then dripped onto a holy card depicting a saint. This card is set ablaze, and the recruit must juggle it between their hands to avoid burns while reciting an oath. The ceremony symbolizes that their soul will burn like the saint if they betray the mafia. Additional symbols, such as a gun and knife placed on a table, represent living and dying by violence. Joseph Valachi underwent the ceremony in a Bronx apartment with about 40 members present. His sponsor pricked his finger, dripped blood onto a saint's card, set it afire, and Valachi juggled the burning card while swearing, "This blood means that we are now one family. You live by the gun and the knife, and you die by the gun and the knife." The burning card seared his palms as he spoke the sacred words, binding him forever to the family. Group beating, Latin Kings. Circles of violence define the path to Latin Kings membership through their brutal jumped-in ritual that tests endurance beyond human limits. This initiation involves the prospective member, often a young recruit aged 13 to 18, being surrounded by 3 to 10 or more established gang members in a circle. They are subjected to a timed physical assault, typically lasting 3 to 5 minutes. The recruit stands in the center, while members form an inescapable ring of violence around them. The initiate must endure punches, kicks, and strikes without fighting back aggressively, crying, or fleeing. This demonstrates resilience, pain tolerance, and unwavering commitment to the gang's nation. The beating serves multiple psychological purposes, breaking down individual ego, testing physical limits, and creating shared trauma that bonds the recruit to the group through collective suffering. This rite is rooted in the gang's pseudo-religious and militaristic structure, outlined in their manifesto or constitution. It emphasizes the 5 points of the crown: love, honor, obedience, sacrifice, and righteousness. For females, known as Latin queens, the ritual may be adapted to be less severe or involve alternative tasks, but violence remains central to the initiation process. In a high-profile incident documented in gang reports, a female recruit named Quintanilla was jumped in by Latin Kings members as part of her initiation into the Latin Queens faction. Surrounded by several women, she endured a severe beating that left her with extensive injuries, including bruises and possible fractures, requiring medical attention. The assault was intended to test her toughness and loyalty, but its brutality highlighted the risks. After enduring without complaint, she received a kite note confirming her membership. Jumped in, Crips. Blue bandanas and brutal beatings mark entry into America's most notorious street gang through the Crips' signature jumped-in ritual. The jumped-in initiation ritual is a hallmark of the Crips Street Gang, founded in Los Angeles in 1969 by Raymond Washington and Stanley Tookie Williams. This violent rite involves a prospective member, typically a young male aged 13 to 20, being surrounded by 3 to 10 or more established gang members. They are then subjected to a timed physical assault. The recruit must endure punches, kicks, and strikes while fighting back to show resilience without collapsing, crying, or fleeing. The duration varies by set, but often ties to Crips symbolism, such as 31 seconds for the letters CK, or 60 seconds referencing 6 in some folk nation-aligned sets. The recruit isn't expected to win, but to demonstrate heart and toughness. This proves they can handle the gang's violent lifestyle. The ritual is rooted in the gang's origins among African-American youth in South Central Los Angeles amid poverty, police brutality, and social unrest. It fosters brotherhood and breaks down individuality. The shared trauma makes betrayal risky due to potential retaliation, while the violence prepares initiates for ongoing turf wars and criminal activities. In a recent case, a juvenile identified as R.A. was jumped into a local Crips set in a wooded area of McDade Park in Pennsylvania. Surrounded by members including Dallas Zippitelli and an unknown male, R.A. was punched repeatedly while Brittany Wilson filmed the assault and encouraged him to fight back. The beating left R.A. with visible bruising on his forehead. Led by James Hankins from jail, this led to charges of criminal conspiracy against the participants. Blood in, Aryan Brotherhood. White supremacy demands the ultimate sacrifice in the Aryan Brotherhood's blood and initiation that requires murder to earn membership. The blood and initiation ritual is a core and notoriously violent entry requirement for the Aryan Brotherhood, also known as the Brand or Alice Baker. This is a neo-Nazi white supremacist prison gang founded in 1964 at San Quentin State Prison. It is now one of the oldest, largest, and deadliest prison gangs in America, with an estimated 15,000 to 20,000 members inside and outside prisons. The ritual, part of the gang's motto, blood in, blood out, demands that prospective members make their bones by committing a serious violent act. This typically involves murdering a rival gang member, a corrections officer, or a person of color. This act proves unwavering loyalty, ruthlessness, and alignment with the organization's white supremacist ideology. It also binds them legally and psychologically to the group through shared criminal liability. Recruits are often on probation for about a year, during which they must swear a blood oath for life, demonstrate reliability, and complete the violent task. Existing members sometimes aid them by providing weapons or opportunities. The gang's structure includes a 3-man commission and 12-man council overseeing decisions. Symbols like shamrocks, swastikas, and 666 tattoos mark full membership post-initiation. In a case tied to AB initiations and racketeering, members Francis Clement and Kenneth Johnson were convicted in 2025 of murdering inmates Alan Roshansky and Ruslan Megomedgadjiev. These killings were acts of violence required to prove loyalty and earn status. The murders aligned with the blood in ritual, where recruits or advancing members eliminate targets to make their bones. The murders were part of a broader pattern uncovered in a federal trial involving drug trafficking and robbery, leading to life sentences. Sakazuki ceremony, Yakuza. Ancient Japanese honor traditions blend with modern criminality in the Yakuza's sacred Sakazuki ceremony. The Sakazuki ceremony is a traditional and highly ritualized initiation rite used by the Yakuza, Japan's organized crime syndicates. It has roots tracing back to the 17th century Bakuto, gamblers, and Tekiya, peddlers groups. This ceremony, meaning sake cup in Japanese, is a formalized bonding ritual. It creates a pseudo-familial relationship between a recruit, the kobun, or child, and a senior Yakuza leader, the oyabun, or parent. The ritual is conducted in a private, often sacred setting, such as a Shinto shrine or a gang office adorned with Shinto or Buddhist altars. It involves the sharing of sake, rice wine, in a specific manner to symbolize loyalty, hierarchy, and lifelong commitment. The recruit and oyabun drink from the same or separate cups. The sake is often mixed with salt and fish scales, symbolizing purity and permanence in a precise ratio. The kobun's cup contains less sake to signify subordination, while the oyabun's has more. The cups are exchanged or drunk in a choreographed sequence, often overseen by other senior members. The ceremony is accompanied by an oath of allegiance, sometimes involving blood by pricking a finger to drip into the sock or signing a pledge in blood. The ritual draws from samurai traditions and Shinto rituals, reinforcing the Yakuza's code of jingi, justice and duty, and their self-image as modern samurai. A documented case from a former Yakuza member's memoir describes a recruit joining the Yamaguchi Gumi, Japan's largest syndicate. In a tatami room with a Shinto altar, the recruit knelt before his oyabun, a senior boss, and exchanged sake cups after a priest-like figure prepared the drink with salt and fish scales. The recruit swore an oath of loyalty, vowing to obey the boss even unto death, and signed a pledge in blood pricked from his finger. The ceremony, attended by other members, solidified his role as a kobun, after which he received a badge and was assigned to collect protection money. Gate of Swords and Rebirth, Chinese Triads. Mystical ceremony meets criminal enterprise in the Chinese triad's elaborate Gate of Swords and Rebirth initiation. This highly symbolic and elaborate initiation ritual is used by Chinese triads, secret criminal societies with origins in 17th century China. They evolved from anti-Manchu resistance groups into modern organized crime syndicates like the 14K, Sun Yian, and Wo Xingwo. These operate primarily in Hong Kong, mainland China, and the global diaspora. This ritual, rooted in ancient Chinese mysticism, Freemasonry, and martial arts traditions, marks a recruit's entry into the triad as a rebirth into a new family. It emphasizes loyalty, secrecy, and spiritual allegiance over personal ties. The ceremony is conducted in a clandestine setting, often a temple-like room adorned with altars, incense, and triad symbols like the peachwood sword or the number 36. The recruit passes through a gate of swords formed by crossed blades held by senior members, symbolizing the perilous entry into the triad world. They then navigate a series of symbolic gates, such as the Gate of loyalty or Firegate, each representing a test of commitment. The core act includes reciting 36 blood-curdling oaths, pledging loyalty to the Triad's dragonhead, leader, and vowing death for betrayal. This often occurs while drinking wine or rice liquor mixed with blood, either the recruit's own, from a pricked finger, or from a sacrificed animal like a rooster or goat, symbolizing a blood covenant. A former Triad member, interviewed in a criminology study, described his initiation into the Sun Yeon Triad in a Kowloon safe house. After proving his worth through loan-sharking tasks, he passed through a gate of swords formed by 2 enforcers, knelt before an altar with burning incense, and drank rice wine mixed with his own blood and that of a sacrificed rooster. He recited oaths vowing to kill betrayers and uphold the Triad's honor, receiving a coded handshake. The ceremony, overseen by a white paper fan, advisor, marked his rank as a 49 ER, leading to assignments in drug smuggling. Filthy Vest Ritual, Hell's Angels. Bodily fluids replace baptismal water in the Hell's Angels' degrading Filthy Vest Ritual. The Filthy Vest Ritual, also known as the baptism or defilement ceremony, is a degrading and unhygienic initiation practice associated with the Hell's Angels Motorcycle Club. The HAMC is an outlaw motorcycle gang founded in 1948 in Fontana, California by World War II veterans. It is now a global organization with chapters in over 60 countries, notorious for drug trafficking, violence, and organized crime. This ritual marks the transition from prospect, a probationary period lasting 1 to 3 years, to full patch member. The initiate earns the right to wear the club's iconic Death's head patch on their vest, or colors. The ceremony involves existing members collecting bodily fluids, urine, feces, vomit, and sometimes semen or blood, into a bucket during a club meeting or party. This mixture is then poured over the new member's head or body, often while they are naked or wearing their new uniform. The soiled clothing, called originals, must not be washed and is worn daily until it rots. It absorbs additional grime like oil drippings from motorcycles to demonstrate endurance, commitment, and rejection of societal norms. This practice reinforces the Hell's Angels code of brotherhood, secrecy, and defiance. It draws from post-war counterculture and military hazing traditions while serving to break down the individual's ego and bind them to the group's outlaw identity. In his book Hell's Angels, A Strange and Terrible Saga, journalist Hunter S. Thompson, who embedded with the gang, described attending initiations where prospects had a bucket of dung, urine, and other fluids poured over their new Levi's and jacket during rowdy meetings. The initiate was stripped, the slop dumped on them, and members stomped it in, after which the clothes were worn unwashed, becoming ripe over years as a status symbol. Thompson noted this in the Burdu, San Bernardino, and Oakland chapters, with one member's jeans so encrusted they could stand alone. Gauntlet, Junkie Funky Kids. 2 lines of armed gang members create a corridor of pain in South Africa's Junkie Funky Kids Gauntlet initiation. The Gauntlet, often referred to as the Gauntlet of Pain, is a brutal and physically demanding initiation ritual practiced by the Junkie Funky Kids, JFKs. This street gang operates primarily in the Cape Flats region of Cape Town, South Africa, particularly in neighborhoods like Lavender Hill and Manenberg. The ritual typically involves the initiate walking or running through 2 parallel lines formed by 50 to 90 established gang members. They are armed with improvised weapons such as wooden planks, clubs, leather belts, sticks, chains, and other blunt instruments. The recruit must endure relentless blows to the body without grimacing, resisting, crying out, or showing any sign of pain. This demonstrates strong bones, physical and mental toughness, and readiness to defend fellow members. This endurance test can last several minutes and result in severe bruising, fractures, or worse. It symbolizes a transformative rite of passage that breaks down the individual's autonomy and fosters unbreakable group loyalty through shared trauma. The ritual prepares initiates for the perpetual cycle of retaliation and survival in a high-crime environment while reinforcing collective identity. In Elaine Solow's ethnographic study of masculinities in Manenberg, a respondent described the gauntlet as requiring the initiate to walk through a line of 50 to 90 armed members without showing pain. He stated, "You must demonstrate that you have strong bones. When your brother is in trouble, you must be able to assist him," highlighting how enduring the blows, delivered with clubs and belts, tests resilience for real-world gang conflicts. The initiate emerged bruised but accepted, often receiving a gang tattoo afterward to mark his successful passage through the gauntlet. Eat Human Heart, Knights Templar Cartel. Cannibalism becomes the ultimate test of loyalty in Mexico's Knights Templar Cartel heart-eating ritual. The Eat Human Heart initiation ritual is a horrific and cannibalistic practice attributed to the Knights Templar Cartel, Los Caballeros Templarios. This Mexican drug cartel emerged in 2011 as a splinter group from La Familia Michoacana in the state of Michoacan, founded by former La Familia leaders like Nazario Moreno Gonzalez, known as El Chayo or El Mas Loco, and Servando Gomez Martinez, La Tuta. The cartel styled itself after the medieval Knights Templar. They adopted a pseudo-religious code of conduct that emphasized honor, justice, and defending the poor while engaging in methamphetamine production, extortion, kidnapping, and organ trafficking. This ritual required new recruits to consume the heart of a murder victim, sometimes from children or rivals, in front of peers as a test of absolute loyalty and psychological fortitude. The act was performed after the victim was killed, frequently by dismemberment or decapitation. It symbolized boundless commitment to the cartel's family and desensitized members to extreme violence. The shared atrocity's legal and moral implications ensured they could not easily defect. During a probe into an organ trafficking network linked to the Knights Templar, Mexican authorities uncovered informant accounts of initiation rites under leader El Chayo. Recruits were forced to kidnap children, extract their hearts post-murder, and eat them in group ceremonies to demonstrate loyalty, with refusal leading to death. This was detailed in reports following the cartel's clashes with auto defenses, where one survivor described witnessing a teen recruit consuming a child's heart raw amid chants, solidifying his role in extortion operations before the group's decline. Set on fire, Black Disciples. Human torches mark the Black Disciples' most horrific initiation requirement, where arson becomes a rite of passage. The set-on-fire initiation ritual is a particularly gruesome and lethal practice associated with the Black Disciples, BD, a Chicago-based street gang founded in 1966 by David Barksdale as part of the Black Gangster Disciple Nation Alliance. The alliance later split into the Gangster Disciples and Black Disciples amid internal conflicts. Operating primarily on Chicago's South Side in neighborhoods like Inglewood and Woodlawn, the BD gang engages in drug trafficking, extortion, and violent turf wars. They are particularly against the GDs and vice lords. This ritual requires a prospective member to select a random individual, sometimes a rival or innocent bystander, chase them down, douse them with flammable liquid like gasoline, and set them ablaze. This results in arson murder or severe burns to prove utter ruthlessness, loyalty, and willingness to commit heinous acts without remorse. The act desensitizes the initiate to extreme violence and binds them to the gang through criminal complicity. It makes snitching suicidal and elevates their status within the hierarchy. Such missions demonstrate heart and readiness for ongoing conflicts, rooted in the gang's prison-influenced structure, with ranks like king or minister, and a code called the 16 Laws of the Black Disciple Nation. This initiation contributes to Chicago's high homicide rates and cycles of retaliation. In a case detailed in federal indictments against BD members, a 17-year-old recruit was ordered to prove his loyalty by targeting a suspected GD affiliate in Englewood. He chased the victim into an alley, poured gasoline from a stolen can, and ignited him with a lighter, causing fatal burns. The initiate returned to the gang's deck hangout with singed clothes as proof, earning his pitchfork tattoo. This incident was part of a 2018 RICO trial convicting leaders for related violence, with the victim's family testifying to the community's terror caused by such brutal initiation requirements. Kidnap and rob, Vatos Locos. Criminal skill testing replaces traditional hazing in Vatos Locos' kidnap and rob initiation ritual. The kidnap and rob initiation ritual is a crime-based test of criminal aptitude and boldness employed by Vatos Locos, a Hispanic street gang primarily active in the southeastern United States, with documented presence in states like North Carolina and Georgia. Translating to crazy dudes in Spanish, Vatos Locos draws cultural influences from Chicano gang traditions, but manifests as a real entity involved in drug distribution, extortion, and turf battles. The ritual typically involves one or more prospective members selecting a victim, random or perceived enemy, kidnapping them at gunpoint or knife point, transporting them to a secluded location. They then rob them of cash, jewelry, or other valuables, and administer a beating to ensure compliance and demonstrate dominance before releasing the victim. This process tests the recruit's ability to execute high-risk crimes under pressure and fosters group cohesion through shared liability. Unlike symbolic or endurance-based rites, this emphasizes practical skills for ongoing operations but carries severe legal risks. In November 2011, 20-year-old Jose Noe Munoz Cruz and 22-year-old Hugo Arturo Torres, along with two unidentified accomplices, allegedly kidnapped a 17-year-old man from Charlotte at gunpoint and knife point as part of their initiation into Vatos Locos. They drove the victim to a mobile home in Huntersville, robbed him of personal belongings, and held him captive before he escaped and alerted authorities. The victim identified the suspects in a lineup, leading to arrest warrants for kidnapping, robbery, and assault. Police noted prior disturbances at Munoz Cruz's residence, highlighting how such rituals target vulnerable individuals to prove criminal prowess and sparking a community-wide manhunt. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, keep the adventure alive by clicking on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content.